we're doing today. So this is our last live meeting of this 6-week series. And let me do this so that it records that way, and I'll end it once we jump back on. This is our last live meeting, and the Last Supper that is historically today has really been alive within me. And I really wanted our time together tonight to bring that in, to let that theme be something of that. And in doing that, I found myself reflecting on a few things that will inform our meditation. Today's meditation is actually going to be a use of the imagination. In a way, we're going to do a quantum jump. And I'm going to explain that. I know some of us have done the quantum jump together. But imagination is a way that we participate in what we might call energetic shifting into parallel universes, or into Akasha, or into other dimensions, or into other aspects of this dimension. And we're going to do a meditation that opens this up for us. But to seed that, I wanted to start the reflection with this encounter we have that's written in numerous passages, both within the formal Bible and the Gospels, and in other places. We have accounts of this, that on a significant feast of Passover, Jesus and his friends gather in a secret place because the environment has become hostile to Jesus, to celebrate Passover. And in that evening, some very dramatic encounters happen between Jesus and these people who are his friends and his followers. Again, they're friends and followers. It's important to remember that, because especially since Jesus is really out there as God, there aren't many individuals that have that reputation or that naming. It could be quite easy to automatically assume that Jesus is far removed from the kinds of relationships that make up this world. Friendships where you share your happinesses and your grief. Tragedies, challenges in family constellations, all sorts of scenarios that we call are part of our life and our learning here in this life. And it could be easy when we talk about somebody like Jesus to assume that any of those emotional qualities or discernments or engagements or bondings or attachments don't exist. And I'm not here to say they did or didn't for this person that lived not right in this moment. I haven't talked in this moment with a physical form of Jesus. So I'm simply inviting you to suspend what might be a few assumptions you may have. I gave one assumption, but there are others that automatically come in. Whenever you have somebody that's held up as an example of the embodiment of God or love or freedom, Buddha's another one. We could go on and name many individuals who were in form, whose presence is alive even today in a way that we maybe look to them or pray to them. To suspend the collective distance, the collective consciousness around distance we place. Oh, if I could just be like Jesus. we automatically assume a lot of things, and we all have it on one level or another, whether we acknowledge it or not. So as we enter into this meditation practice that is going to be the use of the imagination, that is going to shift our energies to be at the Last Supper. That's what we're going to do. We're going to be at the Last Supper. I want to invite you to be okay with being as open as you're able, because there's unconscious reasons we position Jesus in a certain way, or any holy being as a certain way, to hold that open as much as you can, and recognize that there might be more to the story that's there for us. There might be more that's meant to be an illuminating present moment discovery in relation to these individuals and to what is reputed to be very, very holy, very sacred. And so I'm positioning that. And then I want to add a second thought, because last week we had this wonderful, everyone shared so much wonderfully about the whole concept of bread of life, and what might be happening energetically when one individual who lived on this earth magnified the divine presence to such a degree that today miracles are happening in relation to this is my body, eat it, do this in remembrance of me. That miracles are actually recorded to be happening today from words that were spoken more than 2,000 years ago. So the way I want to then invite you in addition to letting go of any assumptions you may know or unknow, or have unconscious, is to show up here in this meditation practice with an openness to what is memory and living memory anyway. So we're going to use imagination, and we're using memory that's come through records. Because on a quantum level, memory is a limited construct that's very individualized. And when we say something is objective, oh, that really happened, we have to hold that pretty lightly, because research shows us, and even if you're honest in your human relationships, most of us have different memories of different things. And we can talk about the same encounter happening in 1987 on March 28th. We might have something that happened there that we talk about that we were all at, and we will remember it differently, and remarkably differently, not just a little differently. So how can we hold memory lightly so that the essence can arise within ourselves? We're doing something that is a bit of a quantum jump. And in the development of the field of quantum mechanics, Niels Bohr, who is an incredible thinker in that field, he said, and I wrote it down because I wanted to quote him directly. He said, quantum mechanics shows us that everything we call real is made up of things that cannot be regarded as real. Wow, right? So what is the ground on which we stand? What is the ground on which we stand? Because we stand on ground. You wouldn't be here on this call if there wasn't a stability, a certain level of stability in your own being that can allow you to explore your truth and grow in spirituality. So let's allow this compilation of entry information for our journey today for our meditation influence you. I'm letting it influence me. I'm going to give you two short examples before we jump in. When we talk about parallel universes, that we are in a multiverse and that our reality here, that we're actually coexisting in many realities. When we talk about this energetically, we actually have some indicators of the fragrance of that in provable scientific experiments. And one would be this. Let's say you have a new drug out and they have a control group, and some receive the real drug and others receive a placebo, called the placebo effect, right? All of them enter in with the first holding the possibility of what can be for them in relation to the drug, that I'll become healthy, that my heart will stop beating so fast, or I'll stop having migraines, or whatever the goal is of the drug. And second, sufficient energy entering into it fully enough that something happens, there's an agency that happens. And they have found over and again with placebo effect that where those two coexist, the belief and the sufficient energy for the belief, the person will experience change. They will enter into a state that can't be quantified according to what the ingredients were, but it's quantified by something else. Second example, typical, we've all done it. You think of somebody and they call the next day. You get an intuitive hit about something and it happens the next day or a week after. These pull us into this mysterious realm of what is real, what is memory, what is imagination, what is belief. And in our growth, we are called over and over again to surrender the limited ways we go about these things. The limited ways we go about these things. So we are going to take a journey to the Last Supper. And I want to invite you to experience whatever you experience. Whether it has image, whether it doesn't, whether it has the feel in your body or it doesn't, whether it evokes a certain sentiment or it doesn't. There's no right or wrong here. We're entering into a live experience that has ingredients for a dynamic revelation. So let's begin this journey together, and it will follow the format of some of the imagination journeys that I've led in our time over the years with meditation series. So it's adaptive from that. And we're going to begin by we are already present together. And as you saw in the heart math research, to be present in any location is to affect each other. You are affecting me right now, and I'm affecting you. All right, so with that, I invite you to close your eyes. And I invite you with me to see and feel and imagine that wherever you are right now, that everyone that's part of this series, whether you're on the call, whether you're doing the call later, that we are all together in the room where you are. That means on a soul level, we are in many places at once. So where you are, allow each of us to be with you. And be cognizant and presence of your spiritual friends with you in the same room. And energetically, as we sit together, where time and space become something quite variable, they exist, but they are not defining the limits of our experience. I'd like for you to shift using your imagination to see yourself in a room that is traditionally held to be the place where the Last Supper happened. Perhaps there's a long table. Maybe there are windows, maybe there aren't. The person of Jesus is present. You can sense in or feel whoever else is there. But you are there, and I am there. And each of us on this series are there together. Let your senses take in the environment. Are there cups on the table? Is there a large cup of wine? Is there lots of wine on the table? What kinds of foods are there? Who's there? How are people dressed? What is the dialogue? Is there bread? What is the bread like? Let us be here. Let yourself become aware that this person of Jesus is in a significant place at this meal, in this room. And the time comes for us to all sit around table together. And now Jesus, in this place, looks at you with deep love and friendship. And this person, Jesus says, looking into your eyes, with great desire have I desired to eat this paschal meal. And then Jesus takes bread, and in our presence, and those who are present, says, this bread is my body. Take and eat. Sets the bread down and raises a cup. Says, this wine is my blood, the blood of a new and everlasting covenant. Take and drink. And the bread and the wine come to each one of us. And in this experience, we are somehow touched, shifted, affected in some way, known or unknown, small or big. We find ourselves effortlessly no longer in the room of this supper and back in our own places, our own homes. And in that, we bring this short exploration to a close. I invite you, when you're ready, to bring the palms in front of the heart and to open your eyes. And before we begin any sharing, I'd like you to take a minute and just reflect on what the experience was for you. There is a way that we're always on the edge of our knowing, and real growth happens that way, that we're on the edge of our knowing. That even while we hold the bulk of what we believe, growth happens when we step into the propelling factors of what we believe into what we could possibly believe that we haven't experienced yet. And this way of allowing events of all times to affect us is pretty undeniable in human experience. The existence of living memories that spark a present moment inspiration is undeniable. A meme coming across social media right at the right time when you need it and hitting a place right within you almost seems like the universe is speaking to you. And I say almost, like I believe it is, but I want to leave room for anybody's opinion. What do these things point to that is possible for us? And on a wild heart level, on the level of the freedom of the heart, what opportunities are here? For rising into that kind of tenderness and audacity. So that seats our reflection. I'm going to close off the recording, and everyone's invited to share first what happened or didn't happen during that little guided experience together. What happened or didn't happen? Let's each share that. And then, secondly, what's evoked within you in this topic? And there's many topics within the topic, so I'm not reducing it to one. I want to leave it a bit more open tonight so that you can go with what's hitting you most. Take it off focus mode.